Hello everyone, myself Nilima Nimje, Assistant Professor, Department of Management Study, and today we are going to look for the subject business law. So, in today's business law, we are going to look for the Act, Negotiable Instrument Act 1881. Let's start with the introduction of this particular act. The word negotiable means transferable, and instrument means a written document. So basically, it means a document which is in written form and which can be transferred in some other person favor. That is what called as a negotiable instrument. This act came into force on first day of March, that is 1st March 1882. This particular act deals with three things, that is negotiable instruments. First is promissory note, second is bills of exchange, and third is check. It is also bills of exchange are also known as hundi. Hundi is something which has been written in vernacular language. Vernacular language means Hindi, Marathi, Gujarati, Tamil, Telugu, like that. This act is extended to entire India. It means it is applicable to whole of India. Moving towards next, for today's lecture, we are going to learn about promissory note. Let's know, understand what do you mean by promissory note. So promissory note is an instrument which is in writing, and that's the reason it is known as negotiable instrument. But as the word note is there, so it doesn't mean that it is a bank note or a currency note. Another part, most essential, is promissory note should contain an unconditional undertaking. It should be signed by maker, which should consist of certain sum of money. It should indicate the amount which needs to be transferred. Also, it is to the order or to a specific certain person or to the bearer of the instrument. Moving towards next, the parties involved in promissory note. It consists of, there are two parties involved in promissory note. First is maker. Maker is the person who makes the promissory note and who promises to pay. Whereas is the person who is going to receive that promissory note and who is going to get the payment of that promissory note. This is the examples of promissory note. So first is I promise to pay B or order rupees 5,000. So here, as you can see, there is a word known as promise. Also, the person name is certain, as well as the amount that needs to be paid. It has also been written over there. The second example is I acknowledge myself to be indebted or to be in 1000 rupees to be paid on demand for the value receipt. Here also the person is giving example states that amount is certain as well as the person is certain and there is a willingness to pay. Whereas third example, that is Mr. B, I owe you rupees 500. It is not talking about an undertaking. It is not telling that yes, the person is going to person B is going to get paid. It is just saying that person B's 500 is with person A, and that's the reason this is not a promissory note. Whereas example 4 consists of I promise to pay B rupees 500 and all other sums which shall be due to him. So this is also not a promissory note. Now why it is not a promissory note? It is because of all other sum. The amount of the money which is to be paid should be specific. So here only first and second example is in promissory note, whereas third and fourth example is not a promissory note. This is a specimen of promissory note. So here you can see there is date, there is place, the amount, and there is stamp, that is sign. Stamp and sign and the name of the person who is going to pay the money. His name has been there. So here as you can see, on demand, I promise to pay Kishore the Shah the sum of 5,000 rupees. So here Kishore Shah is the payee, whereas Anil Patel is the maker. Moving towards next, the essential elements of a promissory note. Very first essential element is a promissory note must be in writing, whether it is in the form of pencil, ink, printed, electronically printed, but it should be able to reproduce words which should be in an visible form. Any oral promise is not considered to be a promissory note. It should be only and only in written form as well. It is not necessary that in promissory note the word promise should be used. There should be only the language should be clearly used, showing an intention to be the part of the maker to give an unconditional undertaking to pay the amount. So your instrument may be written in any language, but if the vernacular language has been used, it is known as hundi. The second element is a promissory note must contain an undertaking to pay. It means it should express promise to pay. Only a mere acknowledgement that, okay, your money is with me, doesn't mean a promissory note. There should be a complete promise, a complete undertaking to pay the promissory note. So your example, Mr. X, I owe you rupees 1000 is just a mere acknowledgement, and that's the reason it is not a promissory note. The third element is the promise to pay should be unconditional. A valid no promissory note should contain an unconditional promise. There, it shouldn't. The contingencies are not negotiable and as their actual payment is not certain. So, your example, I promise to pay X rupees 500 on A's death, provided he leaves a sufficient money to pay the said sum, is conditional. So that's the reason this is not a promissory note and it is void. So as it here you can see that here Mr. X is saying that I am going to pay you rupees 500, but only if A dies. So it is like it is a condition, and that's the reason it is not a promissory note. So a promissory note should be without condition. Up next essential element is the promissory note must be signed by the maker. It should be signed by the maker, otherwise it would be incomplete, and that's the reason it won't be having any kind of legal effect in the business or in the business. The maker must intend to subscribe to the document by signing that promissory note. The fifth essential element is the maker must be certain. The promissory note should be given clear indication of the person who is about to enter into a contract and who is going to engage or undertake to pay. So here a promissory note can be made by several persons as well as jointly. Moving towards next essential element is that the sum payable must be certain. The amount which needs to be payable under the promissory note should be certain. It should be specific. It should be exact. Also any criteria related to that particular payment should also be clearly stated on the promissory note, such as the interest amount if charged, the rate of exchange if any, or if the amount is to be paid by installment. So it should be clearly stated that so and so amount is the first installment. More two installments are yet to be paid. So the amount which is about to be paid, it should be exact, it should be certain. Next is the instrument must contain a promise to pay money and money only. The promissory note is only valid if the mode of payment must be done by money and money only. If it is not, if the money is not mentioned over here, or if anything other than to pay money is mentioned, then it is not considered to be a promissory note. So for example, I promise to pay B rupees 500 and my gold necklace is not a promissory note, because promissory note should contain only money, and here there is the promissory note was stating about gold necklace, so it is not a promissory note. Moving towards next is the pay must be certain. The person who is about to receive the money should be clear, his name, his designation should be clearly stated in the promissory note, and the instrument must clearly point out the party who is going to receive the money. A promissory note cannot be made payable to the maker himself. It should be only and only made payable to the other person other than the maker. And the last point, stamping of promissory note. Promissory notes are chargeable with stamp duty as specified in the Indian Stamp Act 1899. An unstamped promissory note is not an evidence accepted by court. So definitely a promissory note needs to be stamped and it is chargeable. That's all about promissory note. Thank you.